My name is Elton Bro. We are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook. This show is interactive, so join us with your comments and I'll share with the rest of the world. Now let's settle for the details now. And this afternoon, a glimmer of hope emerges for the embattled Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Benedict Wontumi, also known as Chairman Wontumi, as an application to vary his bail condition is successfully withdrawn. Now, this development comes after nearly a week in Yoko custody of allegations of fraud, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state, alongside a separate investigation linked to international organized crime. We'll get some legal perspective on his continued stay in custody, with Monday slowly grinding to a halt. But first, here's a wrap of events so far from my colleague Michael Ashele.
We begin at the tightly secured premises of the National Intelligence Bureau, where a crowd of supporters massed to demand the release of Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Bernard Boisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. At this time, he has been in the custody of Yoko since Tuesday. Leading the charge were senior figures of the MPP and minority leaders in Parliament. But even their presence wasn't enough to get access. Not even former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was allowed to see Wontumi.
I must put on record that the bail conditions that have been set for Chairman Wontumi's bail, 50 million Ghana cedis, is very onerous. I don't know how many people in Ghana can have property with 50 million.
Minority leader Alexander Fenyomakin was left frustrated.
Did they allow you to see him?
Not at all, like I said. He's nowhere to be found. They claim they couldn't bring him. They claim they couldn't bring him here. And he's still in the custody of NIB at their Kaokudi office.
The focus then shifted to Yoko's headquarters, where Wontumi's legal team had relocated. His lawyer, Andy Apiakubi, confirmed he now knew where his client was.
Oh yes, why not?
Where is he?
We had brought him to meet with Vice President, but the situation we saw was difficult to arrange this meeting, to pass through the crowd to get Vice President, see him and talk to him. So we had to take him back, and I told you that his condition of health requires attention.
After nearly 3 days of back and forth, the 50 million Ghana cedis bail and 2 sureties have been secured.
We have been able to provide the sureties. That one I can assure you. And I'm very grateful to Honorable Brian Champon, who has supported me to file the documents. He has brought his documents to which goes over and above the value of money that is required.
But even with that hurdle cleared, Chairman Wontumi is not walking free just yet.
Oh, well, obviously no.
So when?
I told you that we encountered a challenge. The challenge that needs to be addressed before we can go forward. In fact, they had agreed to do the inspection tonight. So all the officers are there. But the challenge that I faced is legal. We can't do it because, but I'm grateful to them. They agreed to wait for us to bring the documents for them to go inspect the properties.
So for now, the embattled Ashanti Regional Chairman remains behind Yoko's doors. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
All right, so it's almost 7 days. Tomorrow is exactly 7 days since Chairman Wontumi was taken from the custody of CID and now in the custody of Yoko. It's unclear when he will have his freedom, at least for the meantime, until this matter is taken to court. My colleague, Michael Ashale, has been at the Yoko head office since morning, and he joins me now with the very latest on this particular matter. So, Michael, I mean, the day is almost coming to a close, and tomorrow will be exactly 1 week. Is there any indication Mr. Wontumi will have a temporary freedom?
If you're just joining us, we're coming to you live from the Yoko head office here in Accra. And in terms of the question you are asking me, as it stands now, it's just a promise that have been given to the MPP supporters that have been outside here since 6 a.m. we are told. Many of them actually from the Ashanti region, where we understand the embattled Chairman Wontumi is from, where he's the chairman here. They've only been told since morning that Chairman Wontumi, with the court case now slashed, means that today he may be a free man from the clubs of Iyoko. However, we have not set eyes on him today, and we're not sure what exactly he's going to be coming out. It was around 11 when we got here, when we spoke to some other people around here, and told us that he's going to come out today. But well over 4 hours after that, we are yet to see any action to that effect. Chairman Wontumi has been in this building, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, since last week Tuesday, and possibly has only moved out of this place to the NIB clinic for medical reasons. But beyond that, he's been in there behind those black gates the entire time. The wish from his lawyer and all these supporters here is that today he will be a free man and possibly fight this case in court. We have seen his lawyer here, but not just him as well. We've also seen the gentleman that we are told secured his bail, Brian Achampon. And Brian Achampon has also been giving us critical updates in terms of where the case in itself has got to. But just before we listen to Brian Achampon, we've just seen that General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Frimpong Kodia, has just joined the teaming supporters from the Ashanti region here, right here on the ground. So we also told that former Ashanti regional regional minister, also Simon Osemensa, is also around. All of these people are here to show solidarity with the embattled Chairman Wontumi. What Brian Achampon has been telling us, what we're wanting to find out from him exactly is where are we with the case, and are the documents he submitted to Iyoko enough to set Chairman Wontumi free? The answers he's been telling us exactly is that they've just completed verifying the document that he submitted to them on Friday, and hopefully Chairman Wontumi will be allowed to go home scot-free. We can listen to Brian Achampon now.
Properties. So we are going to go through the formalities. Everything should be fine.
And when you talk about formalities, what exactly is left with?
I mean, they just finished the inspection of the properties, so we just have to come, they check the values, and then we're good to go.
Honorable, so we know that you are the man that guaranteed his bail conditions. What exactly did you give?
A couple, some houses, normal.
Some houses worth 50 million Ghana cedis?
Well, yeah, some houses.
It's Rock City Hotel part?
No.
Honorable, you must be a very rich man.
I don't know what you call rich.
50 million cedis rich.
I don't know what you call rich. I'm a normal person. Well,
so we are hoping that by the end of today,
God is good.
So, Michael, actually, so on the ground. So, Michael, what is happening now? You said earlier on that some supporters from Kumasi, the former Ashanti regional minister, and some party supporters are also there. What exactly are they there for? Knowing very well that he's almost at the tail end of meeting the bail condition, and they may go home for the meantime until the case is presented before a judge. Right, so we are so live from the Iyoko head office, where my colleague Michael Asale is monitoring events there. As we heard him speak to the Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Brian Achampon, he stood surety for Mr. Wontumi, and we are told that almost everything is going through successfully. They are waiting for some formalities to be done with, and then Mr. Wontumi can go on bail and then maybe have his freedom for the time being. And then we'll see what else will happen for them. But we've also been told that it is not just Iyoko that is pursuing Bernard Nchubu, also known as Wontumi, for some alleged infractions. The Financial Intelligence Center is also on standby, and it's unclear whether they will arrest Mr. Wontumi right after he is granted bail by Iyoko on the premises, or that will happen another time. There appears to be a list of state agencies that are after him. So the arrest is taking place one after the other. First it was the CID, police CID, and then Iyoko, and then now is FIC, as we have been told by the majority chief whip, Watson Nelson Dafiambepo. But is this normal? Let me bring in private legal practitioner Lawrence Wampon-Rekon, who joins us for some conversation around this particular issue. Counsel, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse.
Good afternoon to you.
Great. So tomorrow will be exactly 1 week since Mr. Wontumi was taken into Iyoko custody. Now, the discussion is centered around the 50 million Ghana cedi, bill condition that for a lot of folks in the MPP, it is too excessive. I mean, first, let us understand it. I mean, is this within the right of Iyoko to set this benchmark?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Atta. Yes, I'm aware that there are complaints about the 50 million Ghana cedi. Yes, however, what we don't know is the alleged offenses that have been leveled against Mr. Wontumi. What we have to understand is that for a court or you to come to that conclusion of a basis, you always have to take into consideration how much money Mr. Wontumi is alleged to be involved in. You don't just place any amount on it. You have to look at it before you make a plea that this is the bail condition and the sum is X amount. So because we don't have this information, that is why there is this public outcry that some section of the public believe that the bail sum is high. But as a practitioner, I am tempted to believe that Iyoko came to that conclusion based on the sum that they are alleging that Mr. Wontumi is alleged to have involved himself in one way or the other. So that is how I see it. So it is difficult for me to make a conclusive statement to say that the bail sum is too high. If I have these factors for me, then of course, I can make that conclusion. But because I do not have those, I am tempted to believe that then it's possible that the bail sum is 50 million because he is alleged to have involved himself in a huge sums of money.
Tomorrow will be exactly 1 week. The other leg to this conversation is that the law says that after 48 hours, you must present the person before a court of competent jurisdiction, or you allow him to go, pending whatever investigation that they were undertaking. It's almost a week. Are they right in still holding on to him?
Yes. The law says that we present the suspect within 48 hours if you are unable to grant the suspect bail. In the instant matter, we all know that Mr. Wontumi was granted bail. What was keeping him there was his inability to meet the bail condition. It is not the same to say that after 48 hours, he was not granted bail and he was not put before the court. I've heard this argument. If you look at Article 14, that is not what it states. It talks about when the security for this conversation, if they were unable to grant him bail within the 48 hours, then the law mandates you to put him before a court.
Right.
To either ask the court to remand him because they want to go on with their investigation, or the court can go ahead looking at the factors and the prayer of his counsel, grant him bail subject to certain conditions. So I do not believe that Iyoko in this instance has done anything. Yes, rights must be protected and respected, but he was granted bail. Right. We can complain that the bail condition was harsh, but do we know the amount that Mr. Wontumi is alleged to have involved in service? We don't.
Counsel, hold on for
that is why I told the court that Iyoko should furnish the public with the information so that these speculations will not have any place in the discourse.
In fact, it is. I was coming to that particular aspect because there appears to be no communication whatsoever coming from the office of Yoko. But hold it on for me as we explore that particular angle. Let me take our viewers back to the Yoko headquarters where my colleague Michael Asale is engaging some parts of it who are in now to solidarize with Mr. Wontumi.
Champion has given a property.
Listen, I'm telling you, media, what you people are doing is good. We like what you are doing because now nobody wants to talk. It's fine for us. But next time, when the tables turn, you people should just keep quiet like we are doing now. Thank you very much.
Well, I know for a fact that the media is not quiet about any of the things that is happening, but the conversation still goes on here. We have been promised at least since 11 a.m. that Chairman Wontumi will walk free at least since last week Tuesday. That hasn't happened yet. The gates only open periodically for motorcycles to get inside, for some personnel inside to come out. We haven't seen much activity beyond that. Again, we have only seen some big shots within the MPP come around. The last of them to just arrive was JFK, Justin Frimpong Kodia, who is the General Secretary of the MPP, who has just arrived. And then we also know that Brian Champion himself is around. Also, former Deputy Labour Minister is around, Reku Brobe. And then also the former Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei, is also around. Again, these people here wearing black and red are mostly from the Ashanti region and are here to demand for the release of Chairman Wontumi. That's all they want, and that's exactly what they want. At the end of the day, by 5 p.m., they are hoping that Chairman Wontumi will walk out. But the exact time he'll be released, we are unsure of, and nobody within the MPP has been able to confirm the exact time for us. So Elton, this is exactly what we have. We'll be trying to work the lines and some of our connections here to see how far this really will go. But again, it's almost 3:30. No show yet from Wontumi, or whether there's an indication that Wontumi is going to walk free today.
All right, so Michael Asale, thank you so much. We'll continue to keep you there to monitor events. So we'll come back to you when there is development on this matter. Honorable Kwaku Pentil, Council Kwaku Pentil is also joining us for a conversation on this matter. So, Mr. Pentil, I mean, is this normal? It's almost a week. There's no indication when he will have his temporal freedom. Some say that because of the nature of the bail conditions, that's why it's become so difficult for him to meet them. Now, according to Brian Champon, everything has been done, left with some formalities to be ironed out, and then this all can be done and dusted, at least for now. But what's your own reading into what has happened so far, almost a week on? If you can unmute for me, Council Pentil.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So I was asking your own reading into what has happened so far, almost a week on. Mr. Wontumi is still behind bars, for want of a better word, at Yoko office.
I consider this as pure political drama. This got nothing to do with even law. I mean, there's no real big deal, no big issue. The question of bail has to be determined by a court of law. As long as it was in the hands of Yoko and wherever, they had the right to determine what they will consider acceptable to them before they grant the bail. But when it comes into the courtroom, it's a different ball game. That place, we have got the people, I'm talking about the prosecution on the one side and the accused and his team on the other side. And we have a judge who has to kind of play a middle role by making a determination as to the terms and the conditions which the court will consider acceptable. In reaching that conclusion, the judge has to look at the nature of the offense, the chances. I mean, even the person before the court itself is worthy of consideration in terms of his economic foundation or well-being, in terms of his ability to be able to attend court and so forth and so on. But I believe that when it comes to court, it's a much more simpler exercise because when you come to the court, is the two parties, both the prosecution and the defense team, who have to address the court, and the judge has to mediate and make a decision in between the lines. So I'm sure they are in a better forum than it used to be. That's my view of this matter.
Even though we've heard from the Deputy Attorney General giving indication as to the exact issues Yoko is looking into that involves better than Chubu Esiako, there's been no official communication from Yoko telling the Ghanaian people exactly why they are still holding on to Mr. Wontumi. In the case of the CID, a day after they interrogated, the evening after they interrogated Mr. Chubu Esiako, they released a statement telling the people these are the matters we are looking into, the reason why he was invited to assist in an investigation. Is it normal that a state entity will be so quiet in a matter that has generated so much national interest?
Well, normally they should not be that quiet, but I mean, I wouldn't know the specific facts of this case which makes them do what they want to do. But essentially, I mean, if you need to keep somebody in custody whilst you're doing investigation, there must be good reason. You must show cause. You must demonstrate the nature of the investigations, and especially the possibility that if the person, I'm talking about the accused person, if he's released or if he's not in custody, he may interfere with the investigations that are being done. That could be a good reason why, for in the short run, an accused person may not be released. But it's all a question of the justification that the prosecution would have, which the court may use as a basis for determining the bail as well as the bail conditions. So those are the issues. So far, I don't know for what reason, what specific reason. But don't forget that all of this is a political game. You must know. It eats into the narrative of the MPP, NDC game that I mean that's what almost always comes up. So whenever these issues come up, even though it's before the law courts, the real drama is a political drama. And that explains why the whole of last week there was this picketing of the Yoko, or rather the BNI premises, when indeed, with due respect, the easiest and commonest thing for me, the wisest thing would have been for them to have been in court since last week. But even now that they are weak, so it's like corny, as we say in Ghanaian parlance. I mean, you do this, the other party does this, and all the time somebody's lives are at stake. Because I honestly, personally, have not read, nor do I know the specific reasons that Yoko or the BNI would have for wanting to keep Chairman Wontumi or whatever. But it is for them. The law permits that if they have good reason why they should not release him, like I'm saying, because of political sensitivity, for instance, of the investigations that they are conducting, the possibility that he may interfere with certain witnesses, and so forth and so on. But as I speak, I'm only speculating. I cannot say for sure, nor have I heard Yoko, or rather, I'm at the BNI, and then they are NIB. NIB itself has not come out. No. And if they've come out, I'll be fair to say that I do not know. But having regard to the dynamics of the political games that we play in this country, I think this particular whatever is going on, it fits perfectly well into that narration. Right. So I'm not too surprised. I'm not too surprised at all.
Hold it for a minute. Let me cross over again to Counsel Lawrence Buampon Record. So, Counsel, same question. I mean, is maybe the lawyers for Mr. Wontumi will know the reason why their client is before Iyoko, but the public doesn't know. And is it right that the public is being denied the reason why, Mr. Wontumi is being held?
I wouldn't say yes. And these are my reasons. Iyoko is a public institution. So they act on our behalf, our collective behalf. So if for some reason they have any citizen before them, such as Chairman Wontumi, who is a regional chairman of, the opposition party, the largest opposition party, it is only fair that whoever is responsible at Iyoko will give us updates Because if we had updates, you heard my learned senior saying that whatever he's saying is based on speculation. Because remember, I earlier made the point that we did not know the fact which made Yoko make the ASAM president. We do not have all these facts.
Right.
Assuming all these facts were before the public, then it would be fair for us to make this analysis that we are doing, whether the baseline is what, reasonable or unreasonable. But because we don't have this fact, it becomes very difficult to speak to matters as a lawyer when you don't have the fact. All we know is that the deputy agent has given some information as to why Chairman Wontumi is being detained by Yoko. And to me, that is not enough. And that is why I earlier made the point that I joined the court that Yoko or whichever state institution who is going to invite Chairman Wontumi should give us update. I believe if we had update, those picketing at the premise of Yoko, maybe they would have not gone there because they will have information that, look, Chairman Wontumi is being kept because of AB.
Right.
You get it?
Right.
So I believe that Yoko should listen to us and give us update. Why they are investigating Chairman Wontumi. As citizens, we have to know. So I believe this is a call to Mr. Wontumi and whoever is there to give us update on why they are investigating Chairman Wontumi.
But again, I mean, it is a call that I share in it. But the theatrics and the political party, functionaries massing up, is it really necessary if we believe in the rule of law?
It is not. And I share the sentiment of my learned senior. But you see, that is why we have to do more education. We've seen this every 8 years. We see this. During Nanado's first term, we saw NPC executives going to the CID headquarters when they invite. I mean, we can speak to it. But the question is, why do we see this every 8 years? It's because our political officials, they forget that when you take a political position, you should be much aware that a day will come that you'll be called upon to render to your stewardship. And by our culture, it appears that the political elite, they always forget this bit of it. So when the day of reckoning comes, you see them seeking support from party followers.
Right.
So if you remember, Chairman Wontumi himself started making the call when he suspected that he was going to be invited. He started calling party social executives to come to his aid.
Right.
And ever since, you find even parliamentarians leaving their core duty, to protect at the premise of Yoko, which I find very distasteful. But that is what we have. So we have to keep on with the education so that people will know that when citizens are invited, what we can do as citizens is to find out why they are being investigated. And if there are any breaches in respect of their fundamental human rights, we will all make the call that the right thing should be done. But we should remember that they are not above accountability.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much, private legal practitioner Lawrence Buampom. Let me go back to Mr. Pentel. Mr. Pentel, so we've also been told by the majority chief whip, Ross Anderson of Yamapo, that it is not only Yoko and CID that are after Mr. Wontumi. In fact, the FIC and others are also on standby to take custody of him should he step out of the Yoko office today. It looks like quite a trouble for Mr. Wontumi. But clearly, why wouldn't all of them consolidate whatever they have against this individual and then prosecuting him rather than take intent to arrest him?
It's a good question, and I'm even wondering whether I'm the right person to answer that question. I mean, it's theatrical. Everything that's being done is some political game that we are being fed with as a country. It's a big joke. It's funny. But it's not so funny because it affects the liberty of the individual. People have come to the conclusion, or political actors have come to the conclusion that when it comes to their politics, everything and anything that they do would be okay, or would be acceptable, or would be justifiable, or as long as they have power, they can use the power anyhow and any way they like it. But the funny part of it is, when all this drama has played down, nobody goes to court even to seek for right or wrong about what they've done. If people maintain a culture of bringing an action for political persecution, this one, we call it malicious prosecution. You know what I'm saying? And forced imprisonment. Use false pretexts and pretenses to lock up people, to demonstrate and show them where power lies. That is, in my honest view, what is going on. Because I don't want to believe that if there are 20 state institutions that are capable of, going to this, but common sense would dictate that this matter must be consolidated. At least one of them can handle it for and on behalf of each one of them. But what they are doing is that today we are in power. We will choose, even if it turns out that the methods or the processes or whatever that we use are wrong, so be it. And let me tell you how even we play it in this country. There's such a tortious liability known as false imprisonment and malicious prosecution, which is actionable in court. But when all of this is plays down, everybody goes back, and that's the way it goes. But if people abuse your right, like the way they are going on, if they do it for the fun of it, they pay for it through a malicious prosecution action. You bring them to court, and then you demonstrate that at all materials, everything that they did was not for the proper purposes of possibly securing a conviction or taking you to court and so forth, but showing you where power lies. State actors, don't forget we are still in Africa. Don't forget Africa is still a dark continent. And whatever we do, that dark continent must show in the way we do our things. I regret it very much that personally I have these sentiments to express. But if you see everything that is going on from last week, you just realize that it's a political game that's being played. It's the law, unfortunately, that's being put to this. It's a clear abuse, in my honest view. And the fact that, because that's the way they tell it, during the NPP's time, they also did this to this. So during NDC's time, and I wouldn't know how long we shall remain in the dark about all of these things. It's embarrassing. It's very, very embarrassing, in my honest view. Very embarrassing. So these state actors just using naked power. They've got the power. They must exhibit it. And they will go on and on and on. Whatever they intend to achieve, only God knows. But this got nothing to do with even the guiltiness or otherwise of the offenses that they are prescribed against him. If, of course, the man has committed offenses against the criminal offenses, why not? He must be prosecuted. Right. He must be, but you don't need to go through all this drama in order to secure prosecution.
Sure.
You don't need to do it. That's my view, honestly, about what's going on.
Well, we're keeping an eye on this matter. Lawyer Pinto, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, we're also live at the Iyoko head office. My colleague, Michael Ashalit, is monitoring events there. Brandon Champo, who's to surety for Wontumi, is there. He says there are still few technicalities that must be met before the bill can be effective. And for that reason, all of them are there. We will go back when there is development on this matter. But away from Wontumi, incoming, insert, of course, another person who is also facing the wrath of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, the fate of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta hangs in the balance as the Office of the Special Prosecutor prepares a crucial news conference coming up in the next 1 hour, 30 minutes on the way forward on the case against him. Now, already sources close to the former Finance Minister have confirmed that he will not be physically present in Ghana today to appear before the Office of the Special Prosecutor, as previously agreed, daring the Special Prosecutor to, quote, do the worst. Now, they explain is due to an unexpected deterioration in his health. Opposition New Patriotic Party Director of Legal Affairs, Frank Davis, says this has been officially communicated to the OSP by Mr. Ofori-Atta legal team, along with accompanying medical reports, whilst alerting the Human Rights Court. He spoke on the Super Morning Show early this morning.
With somebody's medical challenge, he doesn't determine it. If I tell you that I'll come and see you tomorrow, and just on the brink of tonight, I suffer a casualty. Would you see me tomorrow? I mean, why should it be so difficult for people to understand that the person involved as a health challenge? This was known long before these charges were prepared against Ken. Who didn't know that Ken was not well? So if it's medical.
All right, let me bring in Mr. Frank Davis. Always a pleasure to speak to you, Counsel. Good afternoon, welcome to the poll. So the OSP has scheduled a news conference at 5 p.m. Any expectation of what you want to hear him say?
Thank you once again. Good afternoon to your cherished listeners and esteemed viewers. He scheduled a press conference.
A news conference at 5 p.m.
Well, I always say I'm not a clairvoyant, so I wouldn't know what he wants to say. But I would have thought that he would respond to our letter written and delivered to him on the 28th of May, requesting for the video recorded interview. If he has decided to snub that, as it is the case, then he wants to go out and hold a press or conference, which he does always. I mean, that's his style. Well, I can't phantom and I can't put my hands on anything as to what he wants to say. Safe to say that I'm sure he's come to respond to us as he does always through public commentary. So we'll wait and listen to what he has to say. And then whatever we also have to say in response, we'll do that. So we'll all wait with bated breath and wait for the almighty special prosecutor.
But you expect that in view of all the documents that you've presented to him, updating him on the health state of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta and the reason why he's unable to be physically present, you expect that he will find favor in it and say that because of this and that, we will still maintain the fight or wait for him to get better and then present himself before the OSP.
That is what every reasonable public officer should do. That is what every reasonable and fair-minded public officer should do. So we'll just wait and listen to what he has to say. But like I said, I would have thought that we have rules and etiquette at the bar. Indeed, we are guided by a legal profession, rules and etiquette act. So if I write to you as a lawyer, there is corresponding courtesy that you also respond to my letter through the same medium. But if the special prosecutor thinks that because he is not a special prosecutor, he has abandoned that simple civility amongst lawyers and learned colleagues, and he wants to tread this path, fine. We'll all sit and wait to listen to him. And then after, we will say what we have to say in response. That's my case.
Great, but my issue is that the OSP is investigating. At this stage, Mr. Ofori-Atta, whatever information they have against, is only a suspect. But I've been going through what has happened so far from the day that the OSP invited him and Mr. Ofori-Atta was out of the country, the subsequent development on this particular matter. I see some heavy high-handedness in all of this. In the midst of an entity seeking to get information regarding an ongoing investigation, there appears already there's some tension between the two parties. Is it normal that this should rather be the case?
Your guess is as good as mine. Why should there be tension in the first place? Why on earth should there be tension in the first place? It's not as if Kenneth has not been cooperating. From the get-go, every single step he has taken has been communicated to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Every single step. Up until today. So what has gone amiss? What has gone wrong? I mean, if the Special Prosecutor has a challenge, he should make that known to us. I mean, he is not in that office for his personal glorification. He is in that office for Ghanaians. He is in that office for Ghanaians. He is not in that office for himself. And he has to apply the rules as they are. to every citizen who is deserving of protection by the Constitution. Ken Ofori-Atta has fundamental rights, just as he does as a special prosecutor. I mean, so what has gone wrong? I have been asking myself this question repeatedly. Now, look here. You would have wished that you had me in your studio, right?
Right.
You would have wished, by all standards, that you will have me in your studio, right?
Right.
I am unable to be in your studio. You are talking to me via phone. Are we not communicating?
Of course we are.
Is it not the same information that you will have solicited for me in your studio that we're talking about now?
I mean,
hello?
Yes, I get it, but perhaps you can help us with some education. I've heard the narrative that the matter involved requires physical presence. I mean, not one that you can do via video conferencing.
No. What is that supposed to mean? That the matter requires physical presence? I don't get it. What is that supposed to be? We were in this country when the election petition, the 2020 election petition, all right? Rojo Metonunu, who was a very viable witness for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
In the election petition.
Before not president. Rojo Metonunu was in this country. He had not even traveled. He was in this country. His circumstances did not permit him to come to court personally and physically to be cross-examined or to be subjected to the court process. What happened? When he made that famous statement that he was given tea and not biscuit. Was it not by video recording, interview, or cross-examination? What has the law changed now? So what is it that will be act of Ken Ofori-Atta that he has to be physically present? Why his nails should be examined or his toes should be examined? I mean, I don't understand this fixture. In court, even in, not in the offices of the special prosecutor, even when the circumstances of a witness is such that the court cannot personally have him or her in court, the court moves the resident or whichever place that the witness is. That is the court, and the court takes evidence. So what is new? Are we now being governed by different rules of procedure because it's Kenneth Ofori-Atta? I ask myself all these public questions, and lawyers, I'm speaking as a trained lawyer. Lawyers who are listening and making all kinds of judgmental remarks should always bear fidelity to the law. Is it not permissible that if there cannot be physical interview, a video recorded interview is done? What is then the essence of the Electronic Transactions Act, which was passed way back in 2008? What does it call for? So what is this? What is this fetish about the kind of interrogation that will be done or in with the Ofori-Atta demands his physical presence? Why? Why would his person or body be searched?
So, Counsel, as you speak, there's no indication when Mr. Ofori-Atta may be returning to the country.
Mister, the man is being attended to by his doctor. The medical record is available to the OSP, is available to the court. Indications have been given. When his health challenge is diminished, Ken Ofori-Atta will arrive in this country. Thankfully. He will arrive in this country to meet with the special prosecutor. If the special prosecutor thinks that the avenue available now, which is permissible under law, is not something that he's comfortable with, Kenneth Ofori-Atta will be in the country sooner than later.
And I ask because as a lawyer, sometimes you say you win in the court and you win in the court of public opinion. Are you not worried about the spin people are putting to this? That perhaps
no lawyer worth his salt wins the case in the court of public opinion. Please, no lawyer, no lawyer worth his salt wins his case
in the court of public opinion. What is the meaning of court of public opinion?
I was actually coming to that. You will allow me to land on that. And I'm asking whether you are not concerned about the perception that perhaps all of this is to delay accountability on the part of Ms. Ofori-Atta.
Why should I be concerned? Why is Ofori-Atta now a spirit? You mean Ms. Ofori-Atta is invisible? I'm asking, is Ms. Ofori-Atta invisible? If the state wants to prosecute Ms. Ofori-Atta, the state cannot. Is the office of the special prosecutor not a public office? I mean, you want cooperation from a suspect at this stage. Ken Ofori-Atta is just a suspect. He's just a suspect or a person of interest. You want to take information from him. Why are you making it difficult for him when you want that piece of information? If you thought that your case was iron-cut and you could go to court with the evidence you have, why do you want Kenneth Ofori-Atta? At any rate, he can decide not to prefer any statement. That is also his fundamental right. He can decide that he will not prefer any statement. Whatever evidence you have, take to court. But the man says, do a video recorded interview, and whatever you want from me, I will give you. If after that you think my physical presence is needed, okay, let's just reschedule. I mean, I don't know, but I just cannot understand where all this is going.
Well, we'll have to wait and hear from Mr. Kissejaben at 5 p.m. on what the office will do next regarding the deadline they gave that is expiring at the end of the working hours today. But, Council, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll have a better discussion after that news conference. But if you are wondering why Ms. Ofori-Atta is such a person of interest, these are the issues against him. Contractual agreements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SMA, and GRA under the Petroleum and Minerals Revenue Assurance. There's also the termination of a contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana and Beijing Chain Technology, that's BXC. There's also the procurement procedures and financial transactions related to the National Cathedral project. There's the Ministry of Health contract with Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for the purchase and maintenance of 307 ambulances. How funds from GRA tax P fund accounts were handled and dispersed. So these are the 5 main charges that the OASP is seeking Ms. Ofori-Atta's comments on them, and then they will decide whether to prosecute or to let him go. Remember that this particular development started in January 2025. OASP named Ms. Ofori-Atta a suspect in 5 cases, the cases that I just ran you through. And then on the 31st of January 2025, lawyers say Ms. Ofori-Atta is abroad for medical reasons. He is still abroad 6 months on. On February 5, the OASP rejected his indefinite absence, demands a return date by 10 February. On the 10th of February, the day that he was expected to appear before the OASP, his doctors, that's Ms. Ofori-Atta's doctors, notes submitted with vague details and no clear written. That's according to the OASP, the letter they got from Ms. Ofori-Atta. And then on the 12th of February, the OASP declares Ms. Ofori-Atta a fugitive from justice. 18th of February, Ms. Ofori-Atta gives return date in May, the May that just ended, and the OASP removed him from the wanted list on its website and on their social media pages. In March 2025, Ms. Ofori-Atta sues the OASP for declaring him wanted, demanded compensation and removal of related social media posts. The Human Rights Court on March 28 hears an interim application for Ms. Ofori-Atta on the legal action he brought against the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Right, so those are some of the things. Now, the next page is what we are all waiting to hear from Mr. Kissejaben at 5 p.m. Meanwhile, Mr. Jaben has also reviewed alarming corruption practices within the Ghana Education Service, including the payment of salaries to non-existent teachers, issuance of fake appointment letters, and fraudulent claims on educational facilities. speaking at the West African Regional Anti-Corruption Policy Dialogue in Accra on the theme Breaking Barriers, Transforming Healthcare and Education Access for Women Through Inclusive Policies and Practices, Mr. Jabin stated that the office is currently investigating the Ghana Education Service and other sectors over what he described as unbelievable and evolving forms of corruption that directly undermines public education and healthcare delivery.
Based in your sector, we are finding officers claiming monies and facilities for non-existent schools. In your sector, we are finding that people are carrying around laptops, and this is to caution. They may do so to you very soon. I'm sorry I'm saying this in public without first having told you. With the Director General's signature on their laptops, giving out appointment letters on their laptops wherever they go, and purporting to be appointing teachers and pocketing the proceeds thereof. In your sector, that's because we've done more work in your sector than his sector. In your sector, we are finding that head teachers are validating non-existent persons for payment of salaries. And so you would recall that was 2 weeks ago in the High Court in Tamale, 6 persons were convicted on their own plea in a plea bargain arrangement with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And we recovered 106,000 cedis for the state. Now, don't dwell on the amount. Dwell on the principle, which is that we are being overwhelmed on the ground. When I say we, I don't mean the OSP, I mean the nation. We are being overwhelmed on the ground in respect of the activities of corrupt actors.
Well, meanwhile, the Special Prosecutor has called for a radical rethinking of Ghana's approach to combating corruption, urging policymakers, institutions, and civil society to anchor anti-corruption efforts in experiences and practical realities of Ghanaian society.
Corruption is stifling us. We cannot enhance access to education and healthcare for women based on the way we are fighting corruption now. The theories are not bearing out what we are encountering on the ground. The theories do not match the practice. Corrupt actors are becoming very ingenious. If you preface it with this, we can only do this in respect of our assigned tasks if we reimagine the way we are fighting corruption. If we reconceptualize the fight against corruption and ground it in a functionally specific way and not based on theoretical constructs. Functionally specific way, I mean, in our context now. How do we fight corruption and address the problem in such a way that education of the girl, healthcare to the females would be well founded? That is what I mean. And it is upon this that last week the Office of the Special Prosecutor made proposals to the Constitution Review Committee for Constitutional Reforms. And we have called for a dedicated chapter on anti-corruption with a framework definition of what we mean by corruption. If I were to ask all of us around here what corruption is, we will only describe activities and not be able to firmly pin it down. And we have called for the constitutional drafters to express society's opprobrium in the Constitution and how we want to fight corruption. And we believe that upon this basis, rising from these ashes, we will be able to tackle the problem more forcefully.
All right, so at 5 p.m., that news conference will come on and we'll pick it live here on Joy News. Remember that Mr. Ofori-Atta is being wanted to be arrested and charged. The reason why perhaps the OSC is not exploring the angle of a video conferencing. That is what is at stake now, not for questioning, but to be arrested and charged. And that probably, you can't do that using the video. But let's still talk about arrests and people who are wanted. Now, the Ghana Police Service has published a list of 8 wanted individuals for various offenses. Joy News is learning that some of the individuals, including one, David Yevuga, a former employee of the biggest ceramic producing firm, Keda, is out of the country. And here are the details of the suspects as you have them on your television. So those are the individuals as you have them. This is what the Ghana Police Service is after them for various offenses. Let's run through the pictures again. If you just tune in, 8 individuals the Ghana Police is looking for, some out of the country, and the police is on their heels. Let's have a look at the pictures again. So those are the individuals as you have them with their pictures and the offense against them, and 8 individuals, police gazetted, and some of them, as we are told, are out of the country. The police are after them and using Interpol to issue a red alert on them and bring them on into the country. So these are the individuals. One of them, David Yevuga, a former human resource manager at Keda Ceramics, was first arrested in 2024 by the 2nd Divisional Police Command upon a request or a complaint filed by Keda. We'll take a short break here on the pulse. Is always brought to you by Defend Drill Cough Expectorant. It clears chest congestion, smooths cough, and fight the common cold, helping you breathe easy and feel better. Defend Drill is available at all pharmacies and OTCs across Ghana. Not recommended for children under 6 years. For bulk purchase, please visit Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals on the Spinters Road, next to the Royal House Chapel, or contact them on 053-666-1432. That's 053-666-1432. Defend Drill, breathe easy, feel better, and of course, get one for yourself today. Let's take a short break and return with more here on The Pulse. Welcome back. This is The Pulse, brought to you by Defend Drill. Now, as government reviews the country's senior high school curriculum, we delve into some details to understand how this new curriculum will support skill development at the second cycle level. Now, we've been engaging Professor Eric Anane, Director of the Institute of Education, University of Cape Coast, on the assessment of the new curriculum. And of course, that will end my part on the pulse today. Listen, as he go through this with my colleague, Pius.
Well, even before we unpack the issues with regards to our curriculum in the various stream of education, for you, what would you say has been your assessment when it comes to our curriculum across various educational streams?
Yeah, thank you very much. If you look at currently our curricula across various levels of education, the concentration has been on getting people to know more sort of knowledge base and less of maybe skill acquisition and action-oriented development. So generally, it appears that that is what the system is, and therefore it's very difficult for maybe candidates coming out of these systems or learners coming out of these systems to fit generally into the current trends of activities across the world, because we talk of different needs of actions and behavior, and for that matter there is the need to have a relook at what we have, because knowledge alone is not enough. We need to make sure that we do more than what we are doing now.
So if it appears that there is a need for us to take a relook at the current curriculum we have, again, it brings to mind that there are some loopholes, for which reason you feel it is important for us to, have that relook. Tell us some of the lapses you've observed in the various or previous curriculum we've had.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, if I may focus on the senior high school, for which we are having a new curriculum, right? That's the new SHS curriculum. If you look at the reviews that we are doing, you will notice that much of it is focused on getting student content, which is to be learned, and sort of student learning more of academic knowledge, or having academic knowledge. So much concentration is on academic pursuits, with training people to get into higher education and other things. But if you look at the design of our secondary school or the basic education system, after secondary school, you should be able to go to the world of work. And also, if you are not engaging in maybe going for further studies, you can also be on your own, technically, to move on with your life, to establish yourself in that sense. But if you look at current curricula that we have, or the curriculum for secondary schools, it does not give that opportunity for learners coming out or students coming out from such system to be able to meet these requirements. So we hear of many people complaining. Universities are complaining, colleges of education, nursing training, tertiary institutions are complaining. That said, if you go to the world of work, many of the companies will complain that when you employ people from the system, you need to train them or spend more money on training them before you can use them than usual. And then also you get many people calling themselves unemployed graduates in the system because they find it very difficult to sort of start their own things because they haven't been given what it takes to be on their own or to go into employment or to further studies.
So talk to us about the current curriculum we have across various streams of education again, for which reason you seek to highlight for that reason. So talk to us more about it.
Yes, thank you. As said, if the current system is sort of knowledge focused, in that sense, you may have the focus also being on teachers as well. So we will say that the current curriculum seeks to give teacher more dominance in terms of what needs to be done to learn whatever has been arranged for the learner. That said, I must say that when it comes to curriculum development, curriculum is developed for students or learners because whatever has been arranged in there is intended for them to develop such skills and competencies and behavior. And the teacher is to serve as a mediator between the curriculum and the learner. And for that matter, the teacher should serve as a facilitator more of than being the person who is seen as having to finish the curriculum. But if you look at the current curriculum design or the curricula that we have across our educational system, especially at the pre-tertiary level, and for that matter, secondary schools, you find that it's knowledge-based, as I've said, and that for that matter, teacher-focused. So we mostly see teachers as normally imparting knowledge to learners. And as I would say, teachers are not Holy Spirits to be imparting knowledge. Teachers are to serve as facilitators between the curriculum and the learner. Okay, so if that is what we want to change, then that is the main focus of the new SHS curriculum, especially to make sure that it becomes learner-focused, it becomes learner-centered, and therefore you have learners engaging in whatever activities that have been set out in the curriculum for them to be able to learn. Because if the curriculum is for them, then they should be the active participant rather than having teachers control everything.
And I'm learning inclusivity is one key component with this very new curriculum we are talking about.
Yeah. Yes. Inclusivity, and for that matter, making sure that every learner is catered for in the system. If you take our current dispensation, sometimes we tend to forget certain groups of learners, because if you come to our school system, you have different groups of learners within the same classroom setting. But in most cases, we design the curriculum as though all of us will be able to appreciate it in the same way. What I mean is that we have learners who may have varied educational needs. Some of the students will be blind, and therefore, if you are organizing activities, you wouldn't think of it as everybody having to see. And also, you may have deaf students in there, and therefore, you need to also make sure that you organize the curriculum to suit their needs. Even within those who may not show physical signs of these activities, you may have students who are sort of maybe have some dyslexia or other forms of some special educational needs that you have to cater for. So this curriculum, this new SHS curriculum makes provision for all these. For example, mathematics curriculum is being adapted for blind learners. That I think that is the first in its time where the curriculum is organized such that blind students can also do mathematics. We are also trying to, or coming out with the Ghanaian Sign Language curriculum. I think that's the first in its time, so that we help those deaf students to be able to learn effectively. The curriculum has also been organized and put in various formats. We have assistive devices being provided. We have also braille some of the documents such that other learners can have, and also organize the curriculum such that even within the classroom where you have different forms of learning, there is some differentiated activities provided to make sure that every learner gets what it takes to be able to learn to their potential.
Very well. So it appears this very new curriculum seeks to, drift away from the true and poor kind of theoretical approach, but based on practical. So on the surface of it, do you think that has that, potential to transform our educational system?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. For curriculum development, you often think of what you want the learners to achieve at the end of the whole learning process. And if the curriculum is designed such that it gives only knowledge, then it means that you produce learners who come out to sort of reproduce knowledge that they have received, as we said earlier. But this curriculum takes away the chew, pour, pass, and forget, as in Ghanaian environment we tend to know. And how does this do that? The curriculum is clear on the expectations of the learners, and therefore we say that it is standard based. So it has been benchmarked, and all the behavior expected is clearly defined through the learning outcomes and various content standards and indicators. And also, the activities to be organized in order for learning to take place such that learners become active participants of their own learning and experience is also put in place. And also, if you look at various the existing curriculum or the system that we have now, you could see that sometimes we organize the curriculum and later think of the assessment processes. But this time, assessment really has been at the center of the curriculum development. From the onset, we sort of thought of how assessment will be done within, that's formatively, making sure that as things are unfolding, we check and recheck whatever is being developed so that it doesn't become like after students are have left in the system, that is when you are going to find corrective measures. So all these said, you see that students engage in research, they engage in portfolio development, they engage in case studies, they engage in discussions. So these things are sort of helping the learners to acquire skills and competencies expected. And also, as you may be aware, one key characteristic of this new curriculum, SHS curriculum, is the introduction of the 21st century skills, which is consciously put in the curriculum: literacy skills, critical thinking skills, financial literacy skills, and communication skills especially, has been highlighted and fully integrated into most of the activities that are undertaken by learners. So this is really a transformational curriculum.
Transformational curriculum, you say, but I just want to find this from you. How have we been able to incorporate digitalization, IT, AI, etc. in this very curriculum?
Okay, thank you. So in developing this curriculum, the processes have been elaborate, consulting all stakeholders, including companies, IT specialists, and experts in the field, and so on and so forth. So at every point in time, whatever is needed in terms of digital needs or IT needs of the system is put in place. But one key feature is the creation of the microsite for NACA to host most of the materials that will be needed for this curriculum to be implemented effectively. And this microsite is often rated 0 or 0 rated. What it means is that teachers, parents, and all of us can access the materials there without extra cost or any cost to whoever is accessing the material, making it easy. Apart from that, teachers are also trained to be able to use digital tools and IT resources to be able to mediate or facilitate the learning that will go on. So there are a number of training sessions, some on-site, some off-site. When I say on-site, it means school-related PLCs, that's the professional learning communities, are organized, and teachers learn to relearn and unlearn some of the things that they have. And also where it becomes necessary, where teachers will have to be grouped outside their schools, it's done to make sure that they get all that is required in terms of their IT needs and incorporation of digital tools in their teaching.
All right, so I want to find this from you again. After all said and done, how do you track the progress of this very curriculum you're talking about?
Thank you. Yeah, to track learner progress, there are a number of maybe processes or stages put in place. One of them is the introduction of the student transcript portal system in the school. So again, for the first time, schools have been given an active portal system where students' information or biodata is captured, assessment information is also captured, all the activities students are undertaking are captured. And then at the end of their training or their 3-year period, they will be able to have a transcript which is going to be used for further studies or as further information for those who want to access the skills and competencies of these learners. So for example, if I'm going to a school and let's say we all have our certificates and our grades are, let's say, the same, we all have 6 ones, these transcripts will be there to give you further information as to what you can do extra, because you can do more subjects and drop them along the line, or there are character qualities and behavior that will be recorded on your transcript. So if you are a team player or you can collaborate well or you are creative, it will be shown on your transcript. This is not an academic thing. It is something about some soft skill that needs to be recorded. So in tracking students' progress, this transcript system gives us the opportunity to be able to do that, because varied forms of assessments are put there. Student portfolio. And student portfolio normally contains student samples of work. So if you want to know students' progress over time, you'll be able to track them from their portfolios. Again, they also undertake research work and other forms of assessments or studies. And all these will be kept so that if you want to know the progress of a learner or to track or gauge the learning progress of any of the students, you'll be able to have such information. So the transcript portal system is really a very good tool in the school, introduced in the system now, that will help us to be able to monitor and account for students' learning in that regard.
So, for how long do you intend to review this very curriculum you are talking about? The moment you begin to work with it, there is a need for you to also review whether indeed there is a need for us to update something or take something out. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Per international practice, curriculum needs to be reviewed. Sort of major reviews happen mostly after 5 years. But again, curriculum is a living document, and therefore, from time to time, new things may come up. By tomorrow, new things will come up: AI development, new technologies, new skills and competencies, and the way we teach, the way we learn, they are all evolving, and therefore, curriculum cannot be static. So, periodic reviews mostly will happen as and when it becomes necessary. That is the formative review of the curriculum. But major reviews, as we are undertaking, happens mostly after 5 years. But if you check, the curriculum we are working with at the secondary school level now is over 10 years. I think it's about 14 years now. We haven't really have a critical look at that. And if you look at the changing world and the sort of skills required within, now I must say that almost every year skill sets change, and therefore you can't keep your curriculum for that long without changing it. So if you want our learners to keep pace with the world and also the changing situations, then on the average, every 5 years, there could be a major change, a major review. But constant reviews are very important so that we can keep the living nature of the curriculum.
All right. So other key components, and for that matter, the players with this very curriculum, would have to come to sharp focus, especially teachers who are the intermediaries between the curriculum and the students and other learners, and as well parents. How do you think these stakeholders, so to speak, can collaborate to ensure the effectiveness of the curriculum?
Yeah. I think the word is what you have used. Greater collaboration is needed because education delivery is a collaborative effort. No one agent will be able to do that. So on the part of teachers, I think series of training programs and resources are put at their disposal for them to be able to have the requisite skills to be able to mediate the learning process, as has been said. In terms of other agencies, for example, if you go to the ministries, we have NACA, which is the main developer of the curriculum. WAEC assesses sort of what has been done. If whatever we require the student to learn, they've learned that. NACIA is to monitor and how effective systems are going on. NTC sort of gives standards and check whether teachers are behaving professionally. So if you check, all these organizations work in tandem to be able to achieve the effective implementation of the curriculum. And for parents, we have PTAs existing, and from time to time schools give them information. And what we are doing is one of the ways of making sure that parents get a better understanding of the new curriculum and the curriculum implementation processes and what they need to do to support the better outcomes required for our learners. Because all in all, learners are coming from society or they are coming from homes. And research has shown that in most cases, about 21% of performance that we achieve in schools come from the background that students bring on board to schools. What it means is that parents and home and society, they are critical agents in the development. And we need to let them understand or make them aware that most of the things that they said, because during the curriculum development process, parents were consulted, communities were consulted. So whatever they said has been incorporated into whatever is being learned. And these are the outcomes expected. And this is what is needed from them. For example, they supporting the learners when it comes to resource, because government alone cannot provide all the resources, as well as the schools would need support also from the system. The school also have to give feedback to parents, as parents also give feedback to the school, so that we get to know what is going on in the system. So I can call it a loop that we all need to, at some point, give information to each other to be able to know what is required and where we are in terms of development of the key agent, that is the learner.
Is there any system in place to, give this feedback when it comes to communication with this very?
Yes, the student transcript portal system sort of give feedback to parents in the form of statement of results. So every term, students are going to get their statement of results. So through that, parents will be able to know what is being done. And then also there is a monitoring mechanism put in place by WAEC to check whether the assessments that have been arranged for learners are being adhered to and schools are complying with the processes to make sure that we achieve credible results or assessment results from the system. So that monitoring activity generates a lot of feedback for other stakeholders like the Ministry of Education and other agencies like NACA. NASIA also does monitoring processes. And from time to time, there are some sort of commission research or deep dives that are done as a way of making sure that we check to know what is going on, and stakeholder engagements are conducted to give information back to the system. So all these are there. So we have dashboards in the system, for example, for the transcript portal system, where people can monitor whatever is going on in the system or in the school system.
So am I to assume this very curriculum we are talking about is enforced? Where are we with it?
Yes, very much enforced, because the process has taken about 2 years to do that. So the curriculum was developed, it was trialed in about 33 schools for us to know what would be required and what would be the challenges so that we cleared. And last year, it was launched nationwide. So now all first years are undertaking or using this curriculum, and it is very much enforced. So already some monitoring has been done, data has been gathered, and the outlook is okay, because this is the onset and people have started doing. But as we all know, we are coming from a regime, a system that has taken us years since independence, and that system has been in force. So it will be very slow in terms of changing whatever we've been practicing. But the monitoring activities are giving good indications as to, but there is more to be done, especially when it comes to the assessment system, because our assessment has been examination focused, and that is why this curriculum even comes so important to change that course and to make sure that it becomes, well, students do authentic things. Authentic assessment is put in place to make students learn their practical things. So it is well informed. And if you take from the aspect of why there will be another, I think middle part of June, there will be another monitoring that is being done to make sure that the internal assessment structure organized, as well as the transcript portal system, is being sort of implemented as planned for us to be able to achieve the results. So it's fully informed.
Right. So this is not only peculiar to public sector schools, private schools, have they embraced it as well?
I must say yes, because quite recently, WAEC and NACA and the agencies that matter, NASIA, they engaged with private schools as to how they can also enroll the new curriculum, and also how to make use of the student transcript portal system. See, one critical aspect of the student transcript portal system is the fact that students will be given a unique identifiers or numbers. And that number will help you to be able to transfer from a public school to a private school, moving with all that you have done. So if all of us are doing the same curriculum and you are in one school and you want to move to another, it wouldn't be difficult at all. You can just transfer your activities. Hitherto, that opportunity was not there, because even the continuous assessment were generated at the end of your third year. So there are instances where people were getting continuous assessment when they haven't done anything. Because they want to take examinations, they just go, as in code, they say they cook for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up the conversation. So all in all, what would you say has been your overall impression about this very curriculum? And going forward, some inputs you think we need to put in place and what we need to extract from it, so that holistically we can have a better, curriculum for our wards.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think my general view would be that this curriculum really seeks to project what, as a country, we want our SHS candidates to look like. So it will be the game changer. We want people who can critically think, people who sort of demonstrate our Ghanaian shared values, people who are creative and be able to support the economic agenda of the country. So this curriculum seeks to bring that. However, as you're saying, when it comes to such curriculum, it demands a lot of resources. So for us to be able to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves, we need to make sure that we really focus on providing resources to support the need. So sustaining whatever that you've been able to achieve so far. The indications are bright, and I hope that you'll be able to achieve the goals. But we need to make sure that we carefully plan and put resources in our education, because secondary school level serves as sort of a mediator between the lower basic and that of university. So if you don't get our learners to be trained well, we are all going to have some sort of negative effect at the end. If they are coming to the universities, there will be trouble. If they are going to world of work, there will be trouble. If they are going to live their life forever with it, there will be. But I believe that so far, based on what you have done, if you are able to become consistent and get resources together, we will be able to achieve the good goals of training people who are sort of holy and well trained to be able to provide whatever is needed for us.
All right. Professor Eric Anani, thank you so much for your time, and it's grateful to have you break it down for us when it comes to our curriculum. I'm truly grateful, sir, for your time.